What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of Breaking Bats, presented by Not For Long Media. I am Brian O'Grady, and with me is my co-host, Justin Ayers. It is, God, I'm losing track of days, Wednesday, April 13th in Japan. So that means I am once again in the future. There's only the 12th for Justin. Starting to get warm out here. My bat is still not getting that warm, but we'll get to that later. How are you doing, Justin?
I'm doing really good, man. It was like the first day on the East Coast where it kind of felt like spring. It was like mid 70s and sunshine. So this is baseball weather. I think we finally made it. But yeah, we'll talk about your Japan, trials and tribulations here at the end there. But I did have a new idea for a new segment we can call talking about just like baseball in general. What if we just go around the horn? We'll just go a couple MLB topics from over the weekend and the last couple days here. I know it's hard to do up-to-date current stuff once a week. But, from the last time we talked, I have a couple things MLB related. So are you ready?
Yeah, man, sounds good to me. That was one of my shows growing up on ESPN. So
Yeah.
might as well just steal it from them.
We're gonna get cease and desist. I feel like if this takes off. So might have to update that. So first up, Friday night in the nation's capital, the Nationals and the Mets, they had the first real bench clearing incident of the season. To set the stage on Thursday night, the Nationals hit Pete Alonso in the face. Very scary. He had to leave the game. I think it ricocheted off like that extra mouth guard thing that protrudes out. And then fast forward to Friday, the Nationals also hit James McCann. Then on Friday, Max Scherzer hit Josh Bell with a curveball. And then in the fifth inning, the Nationals were losing, and they brought in a brand new reliever, Steve Cishek. Runner on second, nobody out. Then Francisco Lindor squared to bunt, and Cishek hit him square in the face with the ball. I mean, the pitch was called for high and tight anyway, but it clocked Lindor in the face. He's on the ground. Mets manager Buck Showalter runs out. Bench is clear. Bullpen's clear, which is always my favorite visual. The guy is trying to jog out from the bullpen. Just a lot of pushing and shoving. There was 2 ejections out of all of this. The game was delayed by like 10 to 15 minutes. I was there. And so Cishek got ejected, not for the pitch, but for not de-escalating the situation because he was walking towards the Mets dugout. And then the Nationals third base coach got ejected for just being aggressive. And then Lindor was thankfully back in the lineup the next day. But this kind of brings up a very interesting situation where it's like, how do you make a determination on what is and isn't intentional? I think the Nationals hit 4 Mets to that point. The Mets responded by hitting Josh Bell, I think also with a curveball. But like, Brian, from your perspective, as somebody who's been in the dugout and you've probably seen your own teammates get hit with a pitch before, like how does like the teammates and how does everybody kind of respond? And how do you guys make a determination on what is and isn't intentional?
In that situation, I really don't think any of that was intentional, to be honest. It just gets to a point where as a team, you feel like, they're hitting too many guys by accident and they need to figure something out. So you kind of respond, even though, like you said, Scherzer hit Bell with a curveball. So, if he was trying to hit him, he wouldn't be hitting him with a curveball. So that doesn't really make any sense either. It's obviously their division opponents, play each other a lot, know each other really well. So I think it just, they hit 4 guys. I think that was just kind of like, all right, what the fuck, figure it out. It's not necessarily, especially Buck Showalter is an old school manager, been around a long time. So going to defend his players and tell people, figure it out. So, and then, when seeing Lindor get hit basically in the face or whatever, it may be the guard too. That's obviously more scary than just getting hit somewhere else. And he was squared to bunt. So I guess my thought is Buck probably combination of the amount of guys that were hit and Lindor being squared to bunt and Buck being an old school guy who's been around, maybe thinking that they were trying to throw up and in, with him bunting like that. And it hitting them probably just set them off. But, you got to protect your guys. It's early in the season. They're trying to set the tone. And the end of the day, do I think any of that was really intentional? No, but you got to, at some point, you feel like you got to stick up for your teammates.
Absolutely. And yeah, in the moment, it did kind of seem like, and look, I'm a Buck Showalter guy. I fell in love with that guy in Baltimore. I know he always has his team's back. So I can kind of see your point where it's like, I think after the fourth time, regardless of whether or not it was intentional, which actually all of them weren't, especially in that situation with the Nationals were down by a run. There was already a Met on second base. Like, why would you hit Lindor in that situation? But I guess to your point, it's more so like, all right, let's just come out and let me demonstrate that, like, that's not okay. Do you think that's more of like probably what the intention was from Buck's part, where it's just like, I'm just going to come out here and we're going to get into an argument, and then this is going to show you guys that, like, you got to stop doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. He's still, this is for obviously all those guys respect Buck because he's been around for a long time and has been a very good manager. But this is, his first year with that team. So he's trying to show them that, hey, I got your back for whatever's going on. Definitely. And, it just, when guys hit people intentionally, you can tell more, it's fastballs, depending on the situation and the history. Like, that's what we talked about, me in AAA getting thrown at the ball that hit my bat instead, because I can't drop my bat. But kind of knew that was coming at some point, because we played that team a ton throughout the year. They're only, Indianapolis is only an hour from Louisville. So we played them all the time. And our pitchers hit a lot of their guys, not on purpose, but they just hit a lot of their guys. So at some point, somebody on our team was going to get it, and it was probably going to be me. So you just got to, I think they're just trying to set the tone and say we're not gonna stand for this. We're gonna stick up for our guys, and whether that's intentional or not, figure it out. Throw the ball over the plate. Stop hitting us.
So from all your time in a major league dugout, have you seen a situation where one of your guys gets plunked, and then, like, is there like a conversation in the dugout where trying to figure out like if that was intentional or not, or is that all just kind of like internal with guys trying to make that determination?
I'm trying to think of, like, off the top of my head, only one situation stands out. I'm trying to think if there is more, but the one situation we may have talked about it before. We gotta get him on here. I forgot about that. I already talked about it, but Mike Brousseau, who's now on the Brewers, when we were with the Rays, Chapman threw at him in New York, and we all knew that it was on purpose, and we had a long kind of debate about it afterwards and the next day, because there was history with that too. But we could tell there's two outs in the bottom of the ninth, and that was the first game that they, we owned them. That was the first game they like beat us, and they were beating us pretty good. And the first pitch went, it was very close, like right at his face. And he ended up striking him out. And when he threw the pitch, he like walked to, like, he didn't like stand back or anything. He like threw the pitch and was like was walking to home plate. And then struck him out and did his like, stare down, like was doing whatever. And so, that's obviously you can tell at that point. I'm trying to think of other times in the major leagues, like when that happens. It's, in the major leagues, they believe guys have good enough control and command of their pitches that it really shouldn't happen that often. It's gonna happen. It's part of the game. Doesn't mean they're trying to hit you, but for the most part, everyone believes that guys can throw the ball over the plate or not, at somebody's torso, like upper torso area and stuff. But it's also, I'm a little old school in the fact that, like, I don't like getting hit. It fucking hurts. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I do think people have gotten somewhat sensitive about getting hit. This is a pretty good story. same with the Rays again. My all-time favorite player, Joey Wendell, is just like the toughest, nicest dude in the world, but like the toughest, scrappiest, still wears no bat and gloves. Like he's the best. And I forget why, but it was the Yankees again. And I forget if this was before or after Chapman, but like he knew, like we knew they were going to hit somebody at some point. I forget if we just hit somebody by accident or if it was stemming from like the years of the bullshit that had been going on. But Tanaka drilled him like 90, his like hardest pitch of the day, like 96, like right in the butt. And Joey just fucking wore it and was jogging down the first base laughing, was literally laughing. And like when I talked to him about it afterwards, he was like, "Oh, dude, I loved it." He's like he still appreciates like that part of the game. Like he thinks it's kind of cool that like pitchers are sticking up for their guys, and like he's fine with wearing that. And he was like fired up. Like it was just cry. I'm like, Joe, you're such a fucking yeah, it's so funny, man. But yeah, there's definitely players too who are like, if you hit them, if you meant to do it, like it couldn't be an accident, like you meant to do it. You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you operate under the assumption that like everybody in the big leagues, they should be able to throw the ball over the plate and not hit somebody in the head, I can kind of see where people would think that's a problem, especially the sheer volume of Mets that got hit over the weekend. That's the Joey Wendell story was fantastic. I don't know if you saw this clip or not, but Sean Murphy of the A's got hit in the rear end and but in Tampa, I think it was yesterday, and he kind of stuck his butt out and everybody was making it into a meme. So that just reminded me of that. That's an all-time clip if you haven't seen it.
It's pretty good one.
I can see how that old school mentality, it's like, all right, well, they hit one of ours, we got to go hit one of theirs. So I still think that's a big part of the game today. And it's like hockey, you got to settle it on, you got to settle it between the lines. So,
yeah, it's a fine line, man, because it's definitely like, that it is like hockey in the fact that like the game has gone away from that kind of, not that baseball is a physical game, but like that, yeah, hitting guys and just like, the slide rules, like things have just changed. Like in hockey where it's more finesse. It's not as much, physicality and fighting. It's still there, but it's not like it used to be.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's hard because obviously guys can get seriously hurt by a pitch. So, and even though guys are very good at throwing the baseball, they're not perfect. They miss. So if you're trying to hit somebody, you might miss and hit them in the head, or, you hit them in the hand. There's a lot of things that can go wrong doing it too. So I definitely see both sides of, of the coin there.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, there has to be a way to kind of police the game. And in like your Joey Wendell story, it's like they did that the right way. They hit him in the rear end, nothing above the belt. And you wear it and you walk down to first and everything's kind of settled there, as opposed to, you try to send like an even tougher message. You try to go up a little bit, and then that's when guys get clocked in the dome. And that's when, you get fist fights like the Reds always have. So next up in our Around the Horn, sorry, ESPN. It comes from your hometown Philadelphia Phillies. So on Monday night, third baseman Alec Boehm had 3 errors in the field in the first 3 innings of the game. The first one, if you haven't seen them, the first one was a slow roller that he obviously should not have thrown, and he did anyway. The second one was very routine. He had his feet set and he airmailed it. And then the third one was he took the first baseman up the first baseline. Again, it was routine. He could have set it. He set his feet. But it was between the second and third error that Boehm actually completed a throw to first base. And then the Philly fans gave a very loud, sarcastic cheer, like, yeah, you finally did it. And then Boehm was caught on camera saying to shortstop Didi Gregorius, I fucking hate this place. And then after the game, they obviously asked him about it, and he owned up to it. So credit to Alec Boehm there. But this brings up a couple things. Like, how do you kind of not let your emotions get the best of you in those situations? And like, how do you shake off an error or multiple in the field?
This is it's hard, man, because I feel for him in the sense that like his job for last year and all through this spring training and now has been like not safe at all. Like they called up, the kid you talked about, Bryson Stott, who's played in some games. And I haven't seen if he's played since. I know he had like 2 hits opening day or something, but I don't know. Bohm was like rookie of the year, unbelievable year the shortened season, but then struggled last year and kind of been struggling still. So obviously he's in his own head a little bit. And I feel for him in the sense, Philly can definitely be tough. There's no doubt. They want to win. They let you know how they feel when you play well and you play hard. They're going to love you like nobody else will. But when you're screwing up, they're going to let you hear it too. So it definitely takes somebody who's mentally tough to perform in that city. But when you're making errors, like I to me personally, and it's in the outfield is not as I shouldn't say not as bad. It's still hard to catch balls, but I guess errors are less common in the outfield, I would say overall. But it's not like when you strike out when you're hitting, you just feel like you didn't like let the team down when you strike out. It's just kind of like fuck, that sucks, or you're mad at yourself, whatever. But like speaking for myself personally, when I make an error in the field, it feels like 100 times worse than striking out, because it feels like you're hurting the pitcher, you're hurting the team, the inning's still going. This guy's got to throw more pitches, or maybe we're making a change in the pitcher. Like, I just feel like there's a whole lot more that goes on to it. And maybe that's just my brain, but you have to figure out how to move on from it too. At the same time, you can't just sit there and dwell on it. You have to move on. And obviously he wasn't doing a very good job of moving on. You said he was trying to do too much, throw him that first ball definitely shouldn't have been thrown. And then, I don't know if this was like a recurring theme defensively for him, if he's been struggling throwing the ball prior to this, or if this is more like a new thing. I'm sure he's doing his early work. Their infield coach is my infield coach from San Diego, Bobby Dickerson, who's the fucking best, the best there is. And I'm sure him and Bohm are going to be getting at it today. And he's probably having a good conversation with him. I think Bobby would be great for that, because Bobby's going to kick you in the fucking ass for sure. But he's also gonna love you and, help, really, like, truly help you with whatever's going on. So Bobby's a great balance of that. And as long as you're willing to work, which I'm going to assume that Bohm is, Bobby will literally be out there for as long as it takes. So I'm sure they'll get it corrected. But when it comes to what he actually said, obviously he had a mental breakdown. Like, that's not just because of Philly. That could have been Washington. That could have been fucking Seattle. It doesn't matter. Obviously he was struggling. They, did the cheer, and it just shows that was really deep in his head, which you saw again when he made the next throwing error. So I feel bad for him. It's rough, but like you said, how he responded after the game to the question was phenomenal. It really was, because that's you don't see a ton of guys do that. I don't know if he realized or if they told him, but if he didn't handle it that way, it would be a much larger thing. So I think because he came out and said what he said and said, it was in the moment, I didn't mean it, and he just owned it and apologized. I think you have to move on, like, forgive him, forget, move on, let him do his thing, because that is a hard thing to do, to just own up to that. And we all know cameras are everywhere these days, so you cannot get away with any of that stuff. And to mouth it out was not smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, was not smart, but he owned up to it. So that moment of mental weakness, he definitely had to follow it up with a moment of some mental fortitude. So I'll definitely give him credit for that, and I hope Philly does too.
Absolutely. So just to kind of, wrap up some of the things that you were talking about, we're a pro Bobby Dickerson podcast, by the way. The work that he did in Baltimore with Manny Machado, turning him from a shortstop to a third baseman, people don't talk enough about. So I just want to give Bobby D a shout out there.
Bobby's best.
I love Bobby Dickerson. So also, so it's crazy because Bohm has never been a great defensive third baseman. Like I maybe some people will look at what happened yesterday and think that like, oh my gosh, like this must just be like a once, it just might not happen all the time, but it's like he had 15 errors on 100 games last year or 103 games last year at third. And he's always, even when he was drafted for his bat. And it was kind of like, well, we're hoping the glove will get better over time. So that part is, it's kind of, I don't want to say on par for Alec Bohm, but it's like, you're going to get a couple errors out of him. That's just what you have to expect with him. And just one last thing on this. And you talked about Philly fans. Obviously, everybody knows they're some of the most passionate, vocal. They'll call you out on your bullshit. But like, is there any recovering for Alec Bohm in the Philly fan base? Do you think that is it just as simple as if he starts to play better, they're going to be endeared to him again? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they can definitely move on. I think because like I said, how he handled it. He came out and owned it and apologized, and that he plays well and cleans up the throwing errors. I think they'll forgive him and they'll move on. At the end of the day, if he makes one more error for the entire year and he hits the ball really well, will Philly forget about this? Of course they will. But he did. No, he handled it the right way. And when I watch those throw, I mean, the first one, he, like you said, shouldn't have threw it. I don't really, I guess he was trying to do too much. I don't really know what was going on there. But the next two, he's fielding the ball. But when he goes to throw it, it just looks, his feet don't look like in sync. Like something's just a little off there. So I think it can be cleaned up. Like I think he just needs some reps of some good footwork over there, which I'm sure, like I said, Bobby and him will get to. So moving forward, I don't think it'll be an issue, and for his sake, I hope it won't. I hope everybody can move on from it and just I watched it. I turned it on in the morning. That was a great fucking comeback, man. It was they ended up winning 5-4 5-4. I watched just in time. I saw that whole inning, man. It was awesome. I was texting my trainer, who's their head strength coach now. So it was they got a great team. So that'll help in the fact that they can hopefully, forget about this too and remember all the other stuff going on. I don't know if anybody else saw this. I don't think anything ended up coming of it, but in that game, dude, Bryce Harper made a throw home and like immediately went down into like, a squat and was like holding his elbow. And then he came up in that inning when they had to come in the eighth and they had to come back to win the game. He struck out. Could have just been a strikeout, but I haven't heard anything or seen anything since. But like when they were showing it, it didn't look good. So I hope not. But just saying that's part of it too.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I did see that thing you're talking about with Harper's arm. I haven't really checked into that either. They have a great team. They're so deep at every position, and that kind of goes back to what you said about Bohm kind of fearing for his job because they got the top prospect Bryson Stott breathing down his neck. So that obviously. That's another wrinkle into the whole Alec Bohm situation there. But I think that was really interesting perspective you provided there, especially as somebody who's played third base. Like you've played third in the big leagues, right?
Never in a big league game, like spring training games. Yes. They, my debut, they asked me, they were like, hey, do you want to go play third? And I was like, all right. And like a minute later, I think they were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't put him there. We'll put him back. We'll put him in center for his first time just so he can like do it. But man, it's nowadays it's so social. Like, I don't know if Bohm's on social media and things like that, but I'm sure he's hearing all the things that people say about him that, he was in trade rumors, the Stott stuff. Like people talking shit on whatever, so sometimes it's really hard. And in a city like that, it can definitely be hard. There's fans who just say things just to say things on Twitter or whatever it is. And, people could be, his family could see that and say it to him or whatever. Maybe he's seeing it. Like, you just never know. So hopefully he locks it up, gets that work in, and is confident in it, and they can roll and then be done.
What a day for Philly sports talk radio. That today must have been an all time, like maybe after like an Eagles loss or something, but like the day after Alec Boehm, on the airways, first time, long time, people calling in. So that must have been hilarious. I should have checked into that beforehand. But to kind of end on like a lighter note, you had something really cool over the weekend. You had your first NPB home run. You absolutely demolished a ball. I guess like the first question before you kind of get into it is, did you get the ball back?
I did. They got me the ball. Yeah. So I have it, signed a ball for whoever caught it. So yeah, that was cool, man. I got my first MPB hit ball and my first homer now too. So yeah, man, it was pretty cool.
Could you take us through that a little bit? Because like the swing, it was incredible. I don't know if were you looking for that specific pitch and it just kind of fell into the right spot. Like, kind of take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so we've talked about it before. My swing has not been feeling great for a while, basically the whole time. And we started that day, my translator, Kobe, me and the other American, Jansen, Whitty, the like pregame routine is different here. So in America, we're in the batting cage doing front flips, machine, like whatever stuff we do. Here, they don't, like, everything's on the field. So like batting practice is going on and people are hitting like off the tee into nets and like doing flips into like the nets and stuff. But like, it's just different. So the minor league complex is like right next to the big league stadium. So me and Jansen's been struggling too. My numbers are fine. My strikeouts are awful. My numbers are fine, but they're not, in my opinion, I have not played great and it don't feel great, but whatever. So we were like, dude, Kobe's like, yeah, I can like flip to you guys. We can go do it. So we're like, what the fuck? Why are we not going to do this? So we, that day we went to the indoor facility right there and did like our normal routine like we would in America with my, our translator Kobe flipping to us. So felt good. And that was my first at bat after that. So like if you watch the whole home run video, you see me like yelling at Kobe because I was telling him that it was just his flips got that home run. And no, it felt, my swing started to feel better right then to get that routine in. And then Giff, I don't know, that first at bat, I saw him really well. It was 2-0 and I was like, I'm just going to catch this ball out front and, hit it. And I knew it right away. And I was just really happy for a few reasons. I was happy because we went 12 innings the night before and didn't score a fucking run. So it was nice for us to get a run and get on the board and, get some momentum there. It was nice for me to get my first one out of the way because literally, it was the longest drought of like my entire career to start here. So that sucked. So it was nice to get it over with and not have to worry about it anymore. And it was also nice to get to feel that swing and feel that, the way it felt coming off the bat, man. That's one of the best things in baseball is hitting a ball like that. So I was happy that I got it out of the way. Happy, we won that game, which we needed. We've been struggling. That stopped like a 7 or 8 game losing streak, maybe like 7 game losing streak. We tied a game in there. You can only go 12 innings here, apparently. So we tied. Yep, we tied. That was very confusing that night. Because I was like, wait a second, like they started high-fiving. It was 0-0. They started doing like the high five line, the other team. And I was like, did they score when I wasn't like looking? Like, what happened? And we tied and they did a high five line. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. What is going on? So Yeah, the boys needed that. We lost again yesterday though, so it's just been a rough go right now for the old Lions.
That's incredible. Yeah. The one thing I wish that they had available in Japan for you guys was something like maybe a StatCast adjacent service that could tell you maybe the launch angle and maybe the distance on some of these things, because I don't know, Brian, that thing looked like 440 easy.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything here. That is a good question though, because they do have some sort of TrackMan. Because when I look at my at bats, it has the zone and stuff, which is bullshit, honestly. But I'll have to ask. But I hit that ball good. I hit it high. I hit it really high. It was a little more elevated, and I didn't hit it as much like out as I did like up and out. Like I knew it was for sure gone, but it was definitely a high and deep one. It wasn't, your standard like more line drive. But I'll have to get back to you on that. It felt good though. That's all I know.
And our friend of the podcast, Jared Carabas, said he wants 39 more out of you. He said he wants 40 tanks this year.
I would love 40 tanks this year. The last time I had over 400 bats in one level in a season, I hit 30. So hopefully we can knock out a couple more. Typically when I hit them, I keep hitting them. So I got a knock last night, not a homer, but hopefully they keep coming here. But we've been struggling hitting as a team anyway. So hopefully we just kind of snap out of it here.
That's cool to hear that they come in bunches. So absolutely. We're going to be on the lookout for number 2 and numbers 2 through 40. So that's fantastic. Keep crushing it over there. I know the numbers aren't where you would like them to be, but you're still crushing it. You're still like leading the league in a bunch of categories, I think. So we're close to it. So, we're obviously going to keep following along with you this year, but it's been, like you said, like they come in bunches. You would not where they like them to be, but I think by the end of the year, we're going to be looking at a pretty good stat line for you.
Yeah, I'm totally confident in that. It's you just always want more. But it's definitely a learning curve, man. It's the more I get into it, the just more differences there are. And I said this to you before we started recording. In a lot of ways, I'm now believing it's harder than America. Just from the sheer number of pitches all these guys throw to the like differences in each one of their deliveries, and the timing of it is just so weird. If you're me, if you're an American or a Spanish guy who's been used to the game a certain way your whole life, like I've started to experience things here hitting that I haven't seen in my 29 years of life. So got to figure some things out, and we will. But it's definitely been some more adjustments that had to be made.
Speaking of great pitching, what an interview we have this week. When healthy, this guy is one of the most nasty relievers in all of baseball. It's one of your old friends from the Reds. Let's talk about who we have coming up for everybody.
Yeah, this week we have Tejay Antone, Reds reliever. He joined us. It was a little while ago when we recorded the interview, but me and TJ were same draft year with the Reds, same agent. I have my agent. I switched agents to his agent, Jay Watasic. Thanks, Jay. So me and TJ just been friends since 2014. We were with each other a lot through the minors. He's always been a supporter of mine. And he's got a pretty good story, man. He was always pretty good. He's a starter, and he a lot of sinkers, nothing like crazy overpowering stuff like that. But once he got to AAA, his first year in AAA, he was doing that, and it was all right. It was whatever. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. But he went to Driveline that offseason and basically changed his whole philosophy on pitching and started throwing as hard as he could with more, we say ride, more kind of four-seam fastballs that look like they're rising and spinning the shit out of some curveballs and sliders. And, he's got his little nickname Captain Hook now, which is hysterical, but kind of burst on the scene. And I guess I'm pretty sure it was the COVID year and was phenomenal. And then was doing really well again last year, but unfortunately got hurt had a second Tommy John, so he is working his way back from that. But he's got a great outlook on everything that he talks about, and he was a staple on Pitching Ninja and things like that when he was back in there. But a great dude, good story, and talked about his facility that him and another buddy of mine from the Reds own now in Texas, Cova. So it's just a really good interview, man. Really nice dude. Really good pitcher. I'm excited to see him back out there, but I know you enjoyed it too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, his perspective on everything is fantastic. Like as somebody who's dealt with a lot of injuries in his career, to have he's still super upbeat about it. He's talking about his recovery timeline. And yeah, you're right. I went back and looked at some of those Pitching Ninja videos. I mean, this guy throws gas and everything he throws moves. So here's to hoping for a speedy recovery for our guy, TJ. But yeah, what an incredible human.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is something everybody's going to enjoy. He's doing a lot of stuff now. I think they're trying to make their own podcast now too, for Cova Sports, their facility. So we'll have to see if we can throw that out there too, if he's still doing it. But yeah, man, just really excited to see him back out there, and just a good friend. So with all that being said, let's take you to the interview with Tejay Antone, Reds reliever. Join us now on Breaking Bad's podcast, my good friend, old teammate, same draft class, and with each other all the way through the minor leagues. Reds reliever Tejay Antone. Some people know him now as Captain Hook. That cracks me up, but we're gonna get to that too. TJ, what's going on in Texas, man? How you doing? I know I see the sleeve monster got you, but you look good, and so does the beard.
Thanks, brother. Hey, thanks for having me on. Like you said, man, we met each other when we both got drafted and just been on the same team ever since. You did make it to the big leagues before me, but I won't hold that above you or anything. Yeah, but yeah, like we've been playing for a while.
Yeah, man. Well, unfortunately, you had a little injury there too that set you back just a little bit when we were together. But we'll get to that stuff. But we'll start with how's the off season? But for you, unfortunately, speaking of injury, rehabbing again, how's that whole process going?
Yeah, so second Tommy John. I don't want to say I figured out the process, but it's when you're second time through, it's like, okay, I know kind of what stages I'm in. I know what it should feel like. I know what I can and can't do. The ego is always the battle. Like you always want to do more than what you are allowed to, but it's just that constant battle of like, all right, I want to do more. All right, my elbow's a little sore. Let me back off. And you're just kind of I'm always hitting the guardrails just back and forth. So, and then time goes on, and then you're throwing a baseball, and then you're off the mound, and then you're back, you're ready to go again. So it's been feeling great. Like I've had no pain whatsoever. I should be throwing here in a couple weeks. Seems like the Reds want to, let me take my time, and they said they don't want me back till spring training 23. I'm kind of like, I want to play, and then part of me doesn't want to play. I don't want to rush it. It is my second one. So I told my agent, which is also your agent, I told him we'll cross that bridge when that time comes. So
yeah, man, I felt really bad when you got hurt again, because you were really starting to come into your own and throw the shit out of the ball. And have, you were nasty. I remember Jay texted me saying, have you seen TJ at all? And I forget, during spring or something, you were pitching when, the game was on, and somebody is like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, dude, guy can throw it. And, you'll get back there, but it's just another roadblock, and you work your ass off. You always have. So you'll be fine. But, sometimes things happen, man. It just, there's no rhyme or reason.
Going back over last year, I was actually starting. I was lined up to be a starter last year, and I was really excited about that. I mean, I started my whole minor league
spring.
So actually, I started that game against you guys, against the Padres, and I forget who I was facing, like Tommy Pham or something. Like it actually was in between innings when this happened. I just like, it was after the third inning, I was doing okay. And after the third inning, I went out for the warm-up pitches and like just threw a warm-up pitch and like my groin like grabbed on me really bad. And I was like, what in the world? Like, okay, it's not that big a deal. Like I caught it early, came off the field. They like shut me down for a week. And then I tried to pitch again and I grabbed again in a bullpen. And I was like, come on. Like, so then we shut it down for another week. And then it was the end of camp at that point. And they were like, hey, we want you to go with us. We want you to, travel. And they were like, you'll just start out of the bullpen. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I want to be on opening day roster. Like I wasn't on opening day roster last year. I want to be on opening day roster. I think that's a really big thing. And they told me like, we'll build you up out of the bullpen. We'll go 1, then 2, then 3, and then we'll try and see if we can squeeze you back in a starting rotation. Well, when, April came and I was just cruising, I didn't give up a run all of April. And so I was doing well. And they're like, well, yeah, you're a piece out of the, you're one of our main pieces out of the bullpen. We don't want to switch anything up. We were beating teams like 10-0. Like it was crazy. So the Reds were doing really well. I remember like right off the first couple of weeks, we were ranked in like the top 5 or whatever. Like we were cruising. And then I just started getting heavy worked, like went, back-to-back days, couple like 60 pitch outings, like long appearances. And I think it just kind of caught up with me. I went on the IL for just a couple, like 10 days. I came back. I felt a lot better. It was just like some inflammation. Came back and I pitched 2 games. On the second game, I kind of got in some trouble against the Braves, and Pablo Sandoval was in the box with bases loaded and 2 outs, and I just let one just go. Like I had to. It was full count. I had to let it go, and kind of felt a little tweak in my forearm. Got him out, by the way. Felt a little tweak in the forearm. I just was like, I was kind of in that, when you're after a game, you kind of feel something, and you're even in that moment, you're like, should I say something? Should I not say something? And I was like, you know what? I just came off the IL. I just need to go ahead and say something. Like it might be smarter to say something. So I just like, hey, like I kind of felt a little something in my forearm. We ended up getting an MRI, and I had strained my flexor. So they wanted to get a PRP. So I did PRP, 3 weeks off, no throwing, started my return to throw program. It was like rusty, like, getting back into things, but slowly started getting better and better. I went down to Louisville to do like a AAA like rehab assignment. I ended up doing like 5. What do you think? I think I did like 5 or 7 outings. They wanted me to get a back-to-back in. So I did a back-to-back. I called the Reds, said, hey, I'm ready to go. They said, hey, we want you to throw 1 more outing. Just make sure you're good. So I had 2 days off. I threw another outing on Sunday. I was like 95, 98, like punched aside, felt phenomenal. We had an off day Monday. We traveled to Milwaukee on that day. And I came into the game on Tuesday, went curveball to Rowdy Tellez, ball, curveball for a strike, fastball for a ball. I felt a little something, but I was like, man, there ain't no way there's something wrong with this. I just did all this stuff. And so I just threw 1 more pitch and then pop, just felt it pop. So probably should have shut it down the pitch before, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, from a personal and like emotional standpoint, you had a tweet last August that I wanted to bring up. You said life is bigger than one person's career. My hope through this whole thing is to inspire others. Like when you're going through a second Tommy John surgery, like what were your emotions like at that time?
Man, at the time, like I was distraught, man. I was so sad. I remember going to the locker room right after that and like crying, and a couple of my teammates were just like right there with me, and the training staff didn't even like, I mean, I think they knew. They didn't even try to like pull me in there quickly. I was just at my locker just like crying because I mean, I knew what I was about to go through. And that's it's like the good and the bad thing of it, because it's like I know what's going to come out on the backside of this, but it's just such a long process that it takes a mental toll, man. It just takes a lot to like really hunker down and be like, all right, I'm going to get after this rehab today when I can't even move my elbow. Like and whenever you're 2 days ago, you're in front of 40,000 people throwing 100 miles an hour. Like that's a big difference there. So yeah, like I said in my tweet, man, I've kind of realized like, if I never throw a baseball again, or if I pitch for the next 10 years, man, I just want my career to just inspire other people to push. The game of baseball has just been such a blessing to me. It's given me really cool opportunities. I met incredible friends. I run a baseball business now. Like, I mean, I can't even complain. So, no matter what happens, I just want to be able to like help the next generation, continue to play if I can, and keep pushing so I can. But just inspire people, man. It's just a game. There's not a lot of people that get that opportunity like we do. So just trying to take advantage of it for as long as I can, play as long as I can.
Yeah, man. I mean, all that stuff is awesome. That's a great way to look at it. And it's tough. It's a long road. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of that stuff's no joke. It is serious. The rehab's not fun. You miss getting out there and competing with your buddies and in front of all those people and all those things. But I have no doubt you're going to be back out there. You're going to be just like you were before, throwing them curveballs and spinning that fastball now, which is hilarious. I'm definitely going to get to like your evolution and the change and what you do. We'll get there.
What's like your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So let's hold off on that for like 10 minutes because most people, they have no idea. I saw you forever. I saw him, JA, first day after we get drafted, mini camp, like we're there. This guy tried to get in the van that was taking us to the complex with a tank top on. And the guy was like, that's not working here. So that was, just a little funny thing. And you see him now, like we'll get there, but I want to go
20 degrees in Arizona.
You're right about that. You're right about that. I'd never experienced anything like that until we got to Arizona that time. Yeah. But you're a Texas dude. You went to TCU to start.
Yeah.
Left. And then you went to Weatherford, right? Community college.
Yeah.
Drafted in the 5th round, 2014. I was the 8th round. So you're a little bit better than me, I guess. I don't know. So why'd you leave TCU? The big Erickson, the JUCO bandit stuff now is huge. What did you like about JUCO? How do you think that's helped you get to where you are today?
So when I was in high school, my high school coach coached the Weatherford Junior College head coach. So my high school coach was this really old guy, Coach Walden, great dude, love him. He coached Flint Wall, or sorry, not Flint. Actually, he did coach Flint Wallace, which was the pitching coach. And then he also coached Jeff Lightfoot. He's the head coach at Weatherford. So they would always come by our high school and they knew like I wanted to go D1. And they just told me like, hey, if anything ever happens at TCU, like just let us know, like you're always welcome on our team. And so I went to TCU and I just didn't get the playing time that I thought I'd like deserved and earned. I just saw it kind of lining up. You know how D1 ball is, like sometimes people just get, sometimes people are favorites and sometimes people aren't. And, it doesn't, sometimes that can hurt and help you. And I felt like in that moment, I was getting hurt by that. I felt like some other kids were just like more of the favorites and were getting more opportunities than I was. And I was like, I don't need this. I can go to Weatherford and play and be a starter right now. So called the Weatherford coach. Flint Wallace was a pitching coach at the time. He's actually down at Texas Baseball Ranch now. So very smart mind, very smart pitching coach. And at the time, my velo was like down. It was like in high school, I was like 90, 93, like would pop a 5 every once in a while. I went to TCU and I was like 87, 89, like just, thumping sinkers in there. And then I went to Weatherford and they were just trying to push velocity on me. We did long toss all the time and we did a lot of velocity. So it was like doing velocity training like before velocity training was a thing. And I bumped up. I ended up hitting like a 97 and having some really good stuff that year and got drafted by the Reds. And after that, went to the Reds and then that's where I met you. And we went to Arizona and I couldn't even do no one did weighted ball stuff back then. Like the Reds hated it big. Like they hated weighted ball stuff. So I remember I had to go around the corner and do my weighted balls around the batting cage. I had to do it on the side of the batting cage without them seeing me. And my velo kind of faltered a little bit. And I was trying to learn this whole new pitch every 5 days thing, which is terrible. Rotation. You're like, gosh, I just got no time to recover. But we ended up going to Billings and we won the championship. So that was sick. We had a pretty good staff there. We have a lot of fun, man. There's Aquino, Malley, you, me. There's a lot of major leaguers on the team. So
Landino,
yeah.
Long.
Yeah, geez, like so many. Shed
A
Long,
lot,
the
man.
catcher. Shed Long was
Shed-
the catcher on that team, man. That was a funny.
Yeah. Shout out Shed Long. I hope to have him on here at some point. That was
Yeah.
before Shed moved to the infield and didn't really figure everything out yet. He was such a young kid, but obviously he put it together and ended up with a nice career he's got going. Some injuries too, but he'll be back. And what do you got, Jay?
So, when I was doing my research and I was looking through back when we were talking about high school, did you play high school baseball with Noah Syndergaard?
Yeah, so my sophomore year, he was a senior, and I got moved up to varsity during playoffs, and he was number one and I was number two. So yeah, we cruised, went all the way to regionals. We were winning regionals. It was like a game that we were in game 3. So our third pitcher was pitching, which he ended up going to Texas Tech. So we had a really good staff. We had Noah Syndergaard, me, and then a guy who went to Texas Tech. So pretty decent arms. Yeah, went to regionals. It was game 3. We were winning like 7-4. No, we were winning 7-5. And first pitch, walk. Second pitch, strike, or second batter, strikeout. Next guy. So we're 2 outs away from winning the whole thing. Ground ball to shortstop, air. First and third. Next pitch, homer. Game over. Lost regionals. So real quick and fast and in a hurry. But yeah, Noah was on the team. Through lightning in high school. So he was like 97, 98 in high school before it was cool to throw hard.
Wow. I mean, what a pitching staff for high school baseball. Did he also try to, because did he look like peak Thor back in high school, or did he kind of evolve into this giant specimen of a human after?
Yeah. He kind of evolved after like his junior year, where he was still kind of pudgy, like wore like glasses, and you just like, very like he always threw the ball hard, but like kind of pudgy and just didn't look super athletic. And then he came back senior year and he looked a lot better. And it was funny. We were all like, no, what'd you do this off season or this summer? He was like, oh, I did P90X. And like literally all of us went and bought the P90X videos after that. So we were like, oh, we're going to go do P90X. You remember those videos?
I remember, dude, we used to late night at Rutgers. There was like 4 of us. My buddy was all into it, and he basically dragged us to go do it. And yeah, there was nights we would go crush some P90X, dude. I hated that shit.
Low-key good workouts, like, gosh. But yeah,
that's so funny.
You said that P90X is the reason he started throwing hard.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah, they you get into pro ball. We won in Billings. That was a blast, man. That team really was a blast. We go after that. We go to Dayton together, which was another awesome place. But we'll talk now. Jay, back then, man, he was king pronate. All he did was pronate. He's throwing his change ups, his 2-seamers. That was all he did, and that's not what he does now.
Hey, they were pretty gross. You gotta admit.
He had some good stuff, man. Like your stuff was good then, and I think you always, you're a big dude. I think you always had that kind of look that you were a pitcher, that pitcher look. But when in the minors did you realize, or you were like, what, I need to make a little bit of a change here? Like, when did that? I can't exactly remember when that happened. So when exactly did that happen that you philosophically changed it? I know you went to Driveline. When did all that happen, and how did you decide, hey, I need to start just throwing as hard as I can and spinning the shit out of this ball?
Yeah. So it was kind of like a series of changes over time. So like I would sit like 88, 91, and I would just throw sinkers like literally right down the middle and just let them ground out all day long. Like I'm sure O'Grady was super bored in the outfield because no balls went out. And and like in Dayton, I just did that the whole time and had plenty of success. I think I had like a 2.9 that year. So I had plenty of success and just like, sure, I'm just going to keep doing this. And my whole thing's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, at the time I didn't know any better, and I go to high A the next year and start getting racked around a little bit. And I was like, dang, okay, I got to start changing some things up. So I do remember I started like flashing a couple 4-seams, and I would pop like a 94, 95 every once in a while in a game. Like, so I knew it was in there. And then just kind of as I moved up, I realized that like I'm getting more swing and misses. Like Reds want swing and misses. Like, why am I trying to like pitch to contact? If the Reds want swing and misses to put me in the big leagues, and I have this pitch that has swing and misses, like why don't I throw that more? So I started throwing more four seams and kind of going up in the zone, throwing more breaking balls. And you remember Moscott?
Oh, yeah.
So he actually helped me a ton. He ended up right on the backside of his career. He ended up like kind of like coaching a little bit in AAA when I was up there, and he like created this whole like diagram for me to help me like figure out where I get the most swing and misses on what pitch and what batter type. And I kind of stuck to that for the last 2 games of the season, and my pitch usage kind of like switched. My four seams like went up, and I was like 94, 96, like pretty much the whole game. I started throwing more sliders. So I was like 40% sliders, which people were like, oh, it's bad for your arm, but I'm just trying to make it for the next 7 years and then get out of here. But yeah, I just started throwing more sliders and more breaking balls. And the last 2 games of the year, I had like 14 Ks and like, 15 innings or 14 innings or something like that. So I was like, okay, like Moscow knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to stick with that next year. And that was 2019, and going into 2020, we went to spring training, and I was throwing hard, but it was just like 95. And during that COVID period, when we got shut down, I had access to a baseball facility nearby, and I was sending video to Eric Jagers, and he was really helping me like hit my positions a little bit better. Not worry so much about like, oh, just throw the ball. It's like, all right, no, you actually have to hit these positions as you're going down the mound, because like they help you just move more efficiently. And I focused on that the entire time. And that was the first time during quarantine, I did a live BP. I hit 99 for my first time. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this isn't even a real game. Like, I think I got something here. Like, went to the little shortened season or the shortened spring training. And like you said, it's max effort. It's spin it as much as possible and like let the rest, work. And Caleb Cotham kind of helped me a lot with that. DJ helps a lot with the mindset, man. He's just like very bulldog, like attack the hitter. Caleb Cotham helped me a lot with like, throw your best stuff in the zone. And like, from there, you're going to win. You're going to win counts. You're going to get ahead of guys. You're going to win counts. You're going to win at bats. And then Jagers helped me a lot with like the mechanics side of stuff. So it was cool to like kind of get the balance of everything. And then, I got my opportunity in the big leagues in 2020, and just don't look back. Just go for it. You only get one shot, man. You know exactly what it's like. So you only get one shot at that. So I was like, I gotta go now, or I'm not going ever. So tell them I'm always ready. Throw it as hard as I can. I'm ready. Ball harder.
That's it, dude. It's amazing for me, because you really are like, you couldn't be more different now than you were back then. Like JA, it's hard for you to appreciate, but it's worked. You recognized it, and you recognized that you had it in you. And yeah, you've definitely gotten to work with some pretty good people. I mean, Caleb's phenomenal. And so is Johnny Moscott, man. What a guy that is. Tough end to his career, but he's a great pitcher, and now is a great coach. I've heard nothing but really good things about all that. But you said something there that kind of, when I was with the Rays, I know it was somewhat of their mantra is, you're just, a lot of guys there, they're not even aiming for a spot. They're going belt high down the middle and just letting their shit play, because they know it plays and it works. So yeah, that's basically what you're saying right there, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they're like, oh, do you try and like locate? I'm like, yeah, in like some situations, but I would honestly say like 60% of the time, I'm just throwing it as hard as I can, like right down the middle. Like, how hard it is. If someone's throwing 98, like, bro, 98's hard to hit, even if it's right there.
Yeah, especially if you could throw something else.
Yeah, for real. So it's like 98, here's a breaking ball, here's a slider. All right, go sit down. Like, someone else come up. I'm just going to keep it all day. And hey, what do you got on? We're gonna pivot real quick. What do you got on the sticky stuff? I want to hear it from the hitter's perspective.
It's just something, I didn't think about that. And then this is good, because JA, let's get your opinion on this too. The sticky stuff. I don't want to name names about this stuff.
Yeah, no names.
Do I think it helps pitchers? Absolutely.
For sure.
Do I think them banning that stuff like they did has led to some injuries and some negative effects that would have been avoided if they hadn't? Absolutely. Tyler Glasnow is a good buddy of mine, and he wasn't using, whatever shit they're talking about, but I know specifically he came out and was very vocal about how he had to change his grip of balls because you couldn't have literally anything at all. The ball slipped.
Yeah.
Now unfortunately he had that surgery. So I think there's a fine line there. I know specifically, I can picture when you guys came to us in spring training last year, it wasn't you pitching, but somebody else was pitching for the Reds. And we could fucking hear it like coming off of his fingers. Yes. Like from the dugout, we could hear the snapping of it. So like that is a little ridiculous to me, but at the same time, man, probably been dealing with it this whole time. So like, whatever, I do know when they look at the characteristics of pitches, how another specific organization that I will not name, their pitchers jumped drastically with some of those characteristics. So I think there's a fine line between really overdoing it and kind of being an asshole and okay, this helps me, better grip, more control, a little more movement. Okay, fine. I think it's
have you played with the Japanese ball yet? Like, have you felt it?
No, I haven't. They're actually sending me some. I haven't gotten it yet.
So they, actually when we were in San Diego, I think Yu Darvish sent one over and we were playing with it and talking about it because like the whole sticky situation was coming up and guys weren't using it anymore. And then Yu Darvish like sent the ball over to someone, I think it was to Castillo, just to like feel it. And the Japanese ball actually feels really good. It's got some sort of like just different leather on it. And it's just not like, so the issue with the Major League ball is they're all hand rubbed. So the rubbing of the ball is not like, it's supposed to be all the same, but it's not. Every single clubby does it. He's usually doing it at midnight or 1 a.m. He's kind of pissed off and wants to go home and go to sleep. And he grabs the ball and he grabs some mud and he does like that and he puts it in the bucket and he does it and he puts it in the bucket. So if they could come up with some sort of standardizing spray of the ball, like when it's getting made, which I don't think that's out of line at all. Just like give it a spray, like let it dry. I think that was the issue. Some of those balls also, so that they use like the Mississippi mud or whatever it's called, and they rub it. And then if you use that ball right then, it would be a great ball to use. But that ball sits in a bucket for possibly a month before it kind of gets cycled into the game balls. And that, that ball dehydrates. And now that Mississippi mud turns into Mississippi dust on the ball. That ball gets very slippery. And so me as a pitcher I know a lot of pitchers who do use it. I know a lot of pitchers who don't use it. So I do in fact think that it does help ball metrics. I also think it helps with command and control, which goes into the safety of things. I do wish they had like some sort of either standardizing spray or standardizing everyone is allowed to use this one type of, grip enhancement thing. Like you can use it as much as you want. You can have it in your back pocket if you want. Jesse Winker always gets so mad when I use this argument, but if hitters couldn't put pine tar on their bat, they couldn't swing the bat as hard. You would not be able to swing the bat with that high velocity. You'd have to swing it slower. The ball would not go as far because you can't swing it as hard. That's my argument. Take it for what it's worth. But, I do know a lot of guys who spray their barrel too. So with some stuff and to make it kind of like grab the ball when it's taken off. So I think there's a lot that, baseball's been dealing with over the past few years, the camera stuff, the sticky stuff. And I think they're trying to get a handle on it, but steroids back in the day. I think they're trying to get a handle on it, but I think everyone's just going to continue to try and find their competitive advantage and do their thing. There's ways around it.
Yeah, just from like an outsider fan's perspective, like I've always thought that the more grip a pitcher has on a ball, like I think everybody should have been in favor of that. Like that's why like last season when this whole sticky stuff controversy came out and pitchers were getting their hats and gloves and everything checked, like how weird was that for you guys? Like to you guys, it probably had a routine, the way you carried out pitches and all that stuff. And then middle of the season to have like Joe West come out there and take your hat off for you or something. Like how is that perceived from the pitcher perspective?
Yeah, a lot of guys were very annoyed with it, but like everyone was dealing with it. It didn't seem like they were cherry picking guys, except some starters like right off the bat. But I think they were just trying to get the rules like under control. But yeah, every single reliever, every inning was getting checked. So everyone out of the bullpen knew you're going to get checked. So it doesn't, matter. He's going to get checked. You're going to get checked. What's getting checked. So yeah, it was kind of annoying. I completely disagreed with like you said, OG, the change in the middle of the season is just kind of tough for guys because there are guys using it, and the ball is going to come off a little bit different. I just think if you're going to make a league-wide change, like it needs to be in the off season where everyone can now say, okay, you know what, I'm done using the stuff. Like, let me work on my pitches and figure this stuff out and give me a couple months. But yeah, just for like an abrupt change, hey, we're going to start, enforcing it, and we're going to start checking you. I know a lot of guys struggled with that, and it wasn't fun for us. It wasn't fun in that side of things.
Yeah, I like your point about the standardized something. I think that who can disagree with that? I think that's the route they need to go.
Like we don't need spider tech.
Yeah,
crazy, brother. That's just crazy.
Is that a real? Your argument that you said Wink hates, is that a real thing? The pine tar, is that proven?
Oh, about swinging a bat harder?
Yeah,
not proven, but that's my hypothesis.
That's your theory.
Yeah,
I don't know. I use the tough skin whenever I do it. So I think at this point I feel like it's more superstition for me personally. Yeah. I feel like I hit better when I did it. So you just roll with it. But I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. Maybe you're right, but
we need a scientific study on that. Get like 20 major leaguers, get pine tar on the bat. Your Richie Bat Company can do it.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. That'll be our big ticket. We'll see what happens.
You need that John Brinkus guy from Sports Science to come back.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, remember that?
Yep, I remember that guy. That's hilarious.
We're gonna test on these Richie Bat.
Yeah.
That's just my man. Winker gets so mad when I bring that up. It's hilarious.
I'm sure he does.
But
I'm sure Winker does. Yeah, he rakes. So, oh man, I really enjoyed watching and following. Obviously Wink and then Castellanos and then Joey, man, how he changed everything. Like it was just really cool to see. And
yeah, man,
Otto is so different, man. He was hitting the shit out of balls.
Dude, he just decided to start swinging really hard. He was like, I don't care. I'm just going to swing. He knows he has really good hand-eye coordination. So
yeah,
it was cool. Like my rookie year, he didn't really talk to me. And then last year, we started talking and hanging out more, and we played chess together sometimes. And he's a really, really cool dude. He's very, very smart. And, I can't say enough good things about Joey Votto. Nick Castellanos also, man, very smart, very, very smart human being. Right. At first you're like, the guy, he's just, a hippie, he just likes life and just has fun. But no, that guy is very, very brilliant. Can't say enough good things about both those guys.
I had a question. Again, this is coming from an outsider's perspective. Nick Castellanos, I mean, he's like one of my favorite players in the league, but there's this thing online. Is he aware of like the meme of, whenever he hits a home run, it becomes a meme? Is he aware of that trend online?
What meme is this? The one where he's like standing over the guy?
No, it's where if like people will Photoshop and here's Castellanos because like he hit a home run when they were doing a eulogy on air, and it just like his home runs always come at really inopportune times during the game. Is he aware of that?
Oh man, yeah, I think he is. I think some guys brought it up to him, but he's definitely like not a technology guy. Like he has like a flip phone.
So, I heard that.
What?
Yeah, I heard he had a flip phone.
I heard a story that he texted his wife so that his wife could order him Uber Eats and like.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like he didn't have it on his phone, so he needed someone else to order it for him.
Yeah, that's great, dude. But Man, I wish I had the balls to still have a flip phone. That'd be so cool, but just can't
I don't know.
nowadays,
I
man. It's
can
too
do it.
hard.
I can't even like. I was telling my wife the other day, we were talking about, Apple, iPhones and Androids. I was like, babe, I can't get away from an Apple iPhone because they've brainwashed me into thinking that blue text bubbles are good. They literally brainwashed me, man. I can't have green text bubbles. I can't do it. So I'm brainwashed from Apple. They got me. It is what it is. I'm just gonna wear it.
That's so funny. It's true though. Like, yeah, why does the blue bubbles matter? It's so dumb, but here we all are with it.
Here we all are.
So 19 was obviously my debut year, and that was my big year in the minor leagues. I think I broke the record for oldest prospect to break a list there that year. But that year I was looking for a new agent. And I told you, and you're like, man, I'll hook you up with mine if you want to talk to him. So you texted your guy and set up a call, and here we are, however many years later, 3 years later, I guess. Jay Watasic, former pitcher, great guy. Still my agent to this day. So we have the same agent, and I'm going to Japan this year. And it was funny when I officially signed, Jay was like, you better text TJ and thank him, because JA at the time, I was getting pretty frustrated that I hadn't been called up yet, because I had just been dominating all year really. And felt like half
in AAA was stupid. You had like
I just felt like I had finally earned it. And the Warner Sports Management, who's the agency now, had some experience in sending guys to Asia, because I was like, man, that might be my route. And so we did it, and then I got called up, so we weren't worried about it then. But here we are 3 years later, and now I'm going. And yeah, Jay was like, better thank TJ. And I did. I texted him. I said, hey man, appreciate it. You made me some money. I'm going over there. And but it was fun. It was cool. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I literally got a text from you and Jay like simultaneously, and you texted me. You're like, dude, I signed in Japan, and then Jay texted me, goes, have you texted O'Grady lately? So, yeah, dude, I remember I was in AA in the beginning of 19, and then I got moved up in AAA, and I was playing with you. But I remember being in AA and like keeping up with your stats and just being like, how is he still not in the big league? Like, he was like, you literally had hit like 20 or 25 homers like in the first half, right?
Something. Yeah. I hit a good amount. It was a good year.
I got up there, like you said, you were like kind of frustrated. I remember we were like sitting in the weight room or something. It was a locker room, and it was just like me and you. And I'm like, dude, like, you don't have an agent? Or like, we were talking about your current agent. I was like, oh, dude, I'll just like, let me just call my guy. Like, there's no way he wouldn't sign you. This guy's got like 25 bombs. So yeah, man. That's all you, man. I just hooked it up. You're the one who earned that. But Japan's sick. I hope to join you someday. I want to play there so bad.
That's cool.
Pitch for 10 years here and then go play in Japan one more year and then retire.
I'm sure they would love to have you at some point. But yeah, man, I've always appreciated about you. You support. I know we're friends and everything, but you've always kind of believed in me and kind of always had my back. I know there's it's funny. There's still a specific comment on Instagram. I don't know if you remember, but I made a nice catch in the gap against Bryce Harper, hit a ball in the gap, and I was playing center field, Jay, and I'm a pretty big dude, so sometimes people don't think I can run very well, but they don't know I used to be 180 pounds and fly around. And right. TJ commented on the Reds Instagram saying like, basically people doubting me, and I had 20 stolen bases that year, however many homers, and he just always had my back like that, which is really cool. And I've always appreciated that, man. So I hope I return the favor for you. I feel like I do, but
you do. You give me a nice balance of like fluffing me up and like talking shit. So it's perfect. It's perfect. That's what I need though. Cause my ego gets a little big and you're like, shut the fuck up. And then I calm down. And you're like, come on, you're good. You're good.
Well, what's the fun if we don't talk shit to each other?
That's right.
I mean, you gotta do that. But you've always had that too. Like, I won't say, I'm not gonna say cocky, but you've always believed in yourself in a good way. Like you really have. You've always been confident and believed that, you can do it. And that's,
not to
say what you want, but everybody in in baseball or in any, elite level of anything, you have to have that kind of attitude, whether you're open about it or whether it's just inside of you and you're telling yourself those things. I mean, you got no shot if you're not like that.
Dude, baseball is such a failure sport. Like, you just imagine like going 0 for 4. Like, if you weren't a little bit of cocky or had a little bit of confidence in yourself, you wouldn't show up at the ballpark the next day because that's so embarrassing. But you got to be like, I don't care. I'm going to hit a bomb today, boy. Like, let's go. Back on someone. And you throw your bat in the air.
That's the truth, dude. I've thrown my bat in the air a couple of times. Not
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, I remember one of your
Indianapolis.
Yeah, dude. You do that thing. God.
All right.
Wait, what
well,
happened?
this is the story. The clip's out there. JA, we were in. TJ started that game too. All right, we were playing in 2019. We were playing Indianapolis, which is close to Louisville. It's a Pirates AAA team. That was also the year that since the Reds and the Pirates had their like big beef stuff going on with Derek Dietrich and all that. So we played Indy a lot, and I owned them. I think I hit about 700 with like 87% of my home runs against Indy that year. It was a joke. I owned them, and they had some good arms, but for whatever reason, I owned them. We as a staff in Louisville happened to hit a lot of their guys, not on purpose, just throwing in or whatever. Balls got away, and it, they weren't happy. But it was later in the year, they weren't very happy about it anymore.
Yeah.
So we go to Indy, and TJ starting. I was hitting fourth that day, and TJ had a rough outing. They put up I think like 6 runs.
It was a 5 spot in the first inning.
5 spot in the first. So we get out of it. we get out of it, and I'm leading off the inning. And first pitch, I don't even remember who it was. First pitch goes right at my head, and I duck, and I shit you not, I didn't drop the bat. It hit the bat for a foul ball. So it was 0-1. And it was blatant. Like, I knew they threw out. Like, I was shocked, but I knew that it was on purpose. And then I'm even more mad because I'm down 0-1 now. Like, how does that even happen? And then the next pitch, he throws a fastball, and I hit it dead center, like an absolute no doubter. And
which isn't that park is really hard to hit home runs at. It's a big.
It was one where like I hit it and I was like, holy shit. Like, I was like surprised at how hard I hit it.
Yeah.
And I took about 3 steps, JA, and I threw my bat. I've never pimped a home run like this ever. I threw my bat like 15 feet straight up in the air. And the clip's out, like it's out, it's out there somewhere. We can find it, but
I was looking for it just now as you were telling it, but I couldn't find it. So
yeah, and then their announcer was talking a bunch of stuff like, oh, I wonder if he knows they're down 5 runs or whatever. And I tried that. I actually responded to him on Twitter, and I
wonder if you knew I said all 500 feet.
Yeah, well, it turned into like it kind of blew up.
Oh really? I do remember this.
Yeah, it blew up, and because I was saying that they threw at my head the pitch before, and that's the only reason why I did that. And a lot of people were like, it was 0-1. How the fuck did they throw at your head? And it's 0-1. And I'm like, well, my dumb ass didn't drop a bat and it hit it. So yeah, I know. And so that was that story. But we'll find that. You found it?
Yeah. You quote tweeted it. And you said, someone tell Indy's brilliant broadcaster, if you throw at my head on purpose, the pitch before it missed, my bat will for sure be getting flipped 10,000% of the time. I mean,
whoops.
No doubter. That's the coolest thing
doubter.
We got to see the clip. We got to show the clip.
I forget who it was, but the next day, one of the guys from their team, because I talked to like all the position players because we played them all the time. I forget who it was, but he was like, bro, that was the most badass thing I've ever fucking
done. Drop the mic. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a good story. But all right, let's move on real quick to we'll talk about your facility. I know JA's got some rapid fire questions he wants to hit you with when we get done here. But
okay.
Kova, man, that's your facility. You and Jeremy Kibble, right? Who was another Reds guy that was played with us. I know Jeremy very well, great dude. You guys are down there grinding. Tell us about Kova, man.
Yeah, so I'll just run you through like how it all happened. So I had Tommy John with Kibble. He had Tommy John like a week before the first one. Because I gotta clarify now since I'm the first Tommy John, me and Kibble did rehab together and became really good friends. I actually thought I thought he was a psychopath. I mean, I didn't like the dude at all. He was crazy. He wanted to fight everybody. And
It's basically a good dude.
yeah, oh man, I lived with him for a year. Incredible dude. I mean, he's my brother. He is literally my brother now. And so, anyways, after that year, he ended up re-tearing his, and he didn't have a very successful surgery. I mean, he came back throwing 95, but he tore. So he went down to Houston and was training some kids. Every offseason I just trained some kids, and then COVID happened, and I came back home and I needed to make some money, and the warehouse that we were doing lessons and stuff was it's like kind of way out in the boondocks. It's like way out there. And so no one's coming by. It was all like shut down and everything, but the kids kept coming for the lessons. So I had about 8 kids. When the quarantine started, my 8 kids turned into about 20. And so it got kind of busy for me. I was just like had a couple groups of kids, just training them, like everything I knew. And I knew that the season was about to start. So I called Kibble, and he was doing the same thing down in Houston. I was like, listen, I really need you to move up here. You can stay at my house for free. Like, I won't charge you rent. He wasn't really enjoying Houston. Like, we were talking on the phone. He was like living with his parents, and just like, it was like the same thing. He was like working a warehouse job in the morning, then doing some lessons at night. I was like, dude, just come up here. I'm charging the kids this much. Like, you can have all the income while I'm gone. You can live in my house for free. Just take care of it. And dude, he did it. He just took a leap of faith and went for it. And he grew that 20 kids to about 70 over the course of the summer. Whenever I got back, it went from about 70 to 80, 90. So we were like really busy. I mean, we had groups of 4 every 30 minutes. We were just rolling. And the warehouse next door ended up opening up. So we were like, dude, we got to jump. And so we jumped on it, and one of the hitting coaches from that facility came over with us. The rest is history. Named it Kova Sports. Had incredible first year. Actually profited as a company the first years, which is like usually not the case. Just incredible, man. Just a bunch of good dudes like grinding, and we're always pouring back into the kids. We spend like $100,000 on just weight equipment, like Rogue weight equipment. So the kids have a really sick facility. We have like hit tracks, Rapsodos, like technology everywhere. And what I like about these guys, they're always trying to educate themselves. They're always trying to further their education. They're not just like getting their ways with what works and then just like following that. Like, they're always on the front end of like learning what works, what doesn't work, changing the program. Like, me and Kibble change the program every single year. We take out everything we hate, we put new stuff in there and see if it works. And dude, it's just been so fun. So then literally today, we just announced that we have our own app. So there was like through exercise.com, they kind of have this like app that you can use and then brand it as your own. And so we can have all the workouts on there and have the kids schedule their training sessions and pay and everything like through the app. So it's very cool to kind of just see this little business where I just used to do lessons with kids turn into this, big kind of like business, like big business that's, rolling a lot of money and a lot of kids in there. And like, we have professional athletes, we have, for major leaguers, we have myself, we have Zach Thompson with the Pirates, we got Sam Huff with the Rangers, we have a couple minor leaguers. Like, this year we've had like 8 D1 commits and 22 D2, D3 JUCO commits. So I mean, it's just rolling, man. It is rolling. Seeing a lot of gains. We do good work, man. It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool, bro.
It's a lot of fun.
Giving back and seeing all that. And side note, Zach Thompson's gross, by the way.
Yeah.
Former Marlin. That guy's nasty.
Yeah,
dude. That's where's that at in Texas? Is that Fort Worth?
Yeah, it's like so the actual city is like Alvarado, but it's like right outside Mansfield's where I went to high school. So that's another thing. I have like the plug of like all the Mansfield kids because they know I'm like the major leaguer out of there, me and Noah Syndergaard. So it's and now Zach Thompson. So it's kind of cool that that little area is now like all the kids come in and train. So I have a lot of kids from my alumni high school that come in and train Legacy. It's very fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then it gives you a great spot to work out too. In addition to all those kids, I was going to say, man, you're always putting stuff up on Instagram. I like seeing that. You know, some people are like, oh, don't put it up or whatever. But I think it's cool for people kids or whoever, fans, to see what you're doing or what it takes sometimes to.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Like some like players like in the league, like, oh, like don't post that. You're so full of yourself. It's like, bro, it's not for you. Like it's for the fans and for the kids that are following me. Like they want the inside look of like what a major leaguer does on a daily basis. And I know sometimes it is hard to like post about yourself because it's like it is kind of like a, you know, you're always like, oh, look at me. But I don't think of it like that. I just want people to like kind of be a part of my life, enjoy what I'm doing, and just like kind of do this ride with me. And I think when you do it like that and you have a good heart and it's not always about you, like you're doing it right.
I appreciate it. I'm sure plenty of other people do. I'm sure you get stuff all the time. And obviously, Cove was killing it. And I'm really pumped for you. I'm really pumped for Kibble. That's awesome that you guys are still doing that. And he's a great dude. He works his ass off. And
Indeed.
Yeah, man, I'll have to come down and check it out sometime for sure.
Dude,
but,
you got to.
Yeah, one of these days I'll make a trip.
Lives going on Friday, so
Nice.
You got to come down here and get your work in.
Yeah, man. That's a quick plane ride from Pensacola to Dallas. So yeah, we'll definitely have to do it one of these days. But let's get JA, let's hit him with some rapid fire and we'll wrap it up and get him out of here, man.
Absolutely. It's been a ton of fun, man.
Yeah.
So how upset were you that you weren't on the 2019 Reds when they did the throwback sleeveless uniforms? Because you brought out the guns earlier. Does that bother you that you weren't having a part of that?
Yes and no. Yes, but I physically wasn't ready for that. I am now.
They need to bring those back.
Oh my God.
Brian, you didn't get a chance to wear those, did you?
No, that was before I got up there. However, I did get to wear that was an anniversary year. I forget what anniversary it was for them. So there was a ton of like old school uniforms that they were using. Dude, I wore some cool throwbacks. They really were. They were awesome. But I didn't get those. That was Lorenzen and Dietrich really enjoyed those ones.
Yeah, doing arm curls in the dugout. So you're from Oklahoma, but you're also from Texas. So like, where do you kind of fall in the whole University of Oklahoma UT Austin rivalry?
Oh, Oklahoma. My dad played football at Oklahoma, so especially against UT, it's like I gotta lean on Oklahoma. But I've had from Kova, I've had two of my kids have committed to UT, so I'm starting to become a Texas fan a little bit. Got to follow my boys.
I love it though. I mean, yeah, Boomer Sooner, man. That's actually my college team. So I've always heard that bullpens are some of the most fun places to be during the game. Who are some of the funniest guys that you get to hang out with down there?
No, it's not even a question. It's Amir Garrett all day. Like clown. Like it's unbelievable how much he clowns. When it was like me, Amir, and Sal Romano, it was just incredible. That was just like an incredible group of guys. Like nice guy, Carson Fulmer. I mean, I can name them all. It was just an incredible bullpen out there. They're so funny. And we do a really good job of like having fun and just shooting the shit. But then like, it's about time to start wrapping it up. Like, let's lock it in and get ready for the game. So I can't wait for you guys. If you can get Amir on here, that'd be so sick.
Amir said yes, so we're holding him to it. But dude, Amir and Sal together that's a show. Always has been. That's a show.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's fantastic. I'm a big Sean Doolittle fan. I'm from around DC. Like, does he ever bring his lightsaber to the clubhouse, or like, what's it like playing with old Doolittle?
Oh man, I love Doolittle. Yeah, man, it was incredible. He was such a good dude to me this year, and like, we in spring training we were like locker mates, and just like learned so much from him. And I have like an Oculus. I brought my Oculus up here and up to the stadium and let him play I guess you can like swing some lightsabers around and fight Darth Vader and just the Star Wars game. He loved it. He never brought his other lightsaber, but brother, he loved that Oculus game. It was incredible.
That's fantastic. Yeah, he's one of the greatest. So I mean, you've had a chance to pitch in a ton of parks by now. Like, what's your favorite MLB park to pitch in?
I knew this was coming up, and I always get so much crap for this because I really shouldn't say this, but Wrigley Field is just like incredible, man. Wrigley is just incredible. I always tell people the story. Like, I came in the game one time, it was bases loaded with 2 outs. and Baez was in the box, and the whole stadium was on their feet. It was like a tie game. Baez. And I was like, I'm about to shut the whole stadium up. Like, this is gonna be so. And I had him 2-2, and I was about to punch him out, but he tipped it and hit a ground ball to like second base, and he ended up getting out. But it was just so incredible. Just watch 50,000 fans in Wrigley just shut up. Just shut up. Oh man, it was incredible. They talk so much crap too, and I love it.
Dude, Wrigley, something is different about Wrigley, man. That is, playing there was unreal. I'll never forget. I walked in the dugout to look at it for the first time, and Tim Kirkjian was standing there. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Talked to him for a minute. It was just like random, but because it was an ESPN game. Darvish actually shoved that night. But dude, if you're a hitter, JA, it is like there's no room. I'm on deck, and these people are like,
they're right there on top.
Oh my God, talking so much shit, and it's like the stands are like dark, and the field's just so lit. Like, that is how baseball should be. All these stadiums and stuff are beautiful, but like the way Wrigley is just there's nothing. I mean, Fenway's really cool too, but like, dude, Wrigley, just the vibe. It's so crazy playing there. It's unreal.
Yeah. Hey, the Padres stadium was very loud.
Petco's sick, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
packed it out, man. They packed it out.
Dude, that was a big series. Then Petco's beautiful. Petco's awesome. The fans there are great, man. I loved it. There's just something about the feel of Wrigley and the Cubs Reds. For people who aren't Cubs or Reds fans, I don't think they understand what a rivalry or like what those games actually mean to people there. Yeah. It's a serious thing.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know if it's like that anymore, just because like the core four aren't there. Like, Rizzo's gone, Bryant's gone, Baez gone. Yeah. Who's left? Like, David Bodie? Like, come on.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank, friend of the pod's gonna come on here soon too. Frank the Tank Schwindel, my good buddy.
Schwindel.
He took off. I know. He's always banged. He just banged in the big leagues for the first time this year because he got a real chance. But he's a Jersey guy. Played against him in college. Known him a long time. Dude could just flat out hit always. So what else?
I don't think I faced him. I don't think I might have.
I don't think he did. It was later in the year when all that happened for him.
Yeah.
It might have been.
Yeah, and I was already hurt. I was just like traveling with the team, enjoying the spread and stuff.
Nothing wrong with spread. What do you got, Jay?
No, I mean, we're a pro Frank the Tank pod here. So I have two more for you. Has playing with rookie Jonathan India, does that make you want to grow your hair out to that kind of length? Have you thought about that?
Yes, absolutely. O'Grady's. I tried to do it one time. I grew it out in 17, and then I threw it away. I used to wear a little headband. Because remember, OG, remember you used to have those headbands, and I hit you up, and I was like, hey, you got those headbands. And you sent me the company, and I started wearing those headbands, pull the hair back, but probably not for me. I brought it up to my wife the other day, and she was like, no, hell no. But whatever.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
You got to grow it out because then you have serious like flow. You get some lettuce going out the back of the hat there. I think that'll add more velocity to your pitches. I think
lettuce and a giant beard, like just complete, like what was like a Brian Wilson, like really scary.
Yeah.
Diet black, like jet black.
Yes.
Oh, then I have to be a reliever though.
You should also, side question, like, back in the 90s, every reliever had a goatee. Have you ever considered shaving it down to a good middle reliever goatee?
No shot.
Okay.
No shot.
I'm just throwing that out there. I think every classic relief pitcher in baseball, the look is to grow it out as a goatee. So, something to keep in mind.
If Gillette, wanted to sponsor me and like, give me like, $250,000, sure, I'll do it. But probably nothing less of that.
Shout out to
Love it.
You're on the spot.
Friend of the pod, Gillette. All right. I have one last question for you. And it's a cool one. So like, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That is a great question. Best piece of advice I've ever received.
It could be baseball if you don't want to do it. It could be life.
Yeah, I could write a book on all the advice I've received. Man, I would say best piece of advice I received probably from my dad. Keep God first. family second, and do what you love. He always used to tell me to do that. Keep God first, keep your family second, do what you love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this conversation, man.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
I'm-
TJ, thank you.
Round two.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been a blast. Definitely going to have you back on here at some point. Hopefully it'll be when I'm in Japan and we'll have some more to talk about that. But I hope Kelsey's doing good. I hope everything's going well in Texas there, man. So pumped again for you and Kibble with Kova. Everybody's got to check Kova out. They're on Instagram, Twitter. So Tejay Antone, man, Captain Hook, Reds reliever. He'll be back soon, spinning the shit out of the balls before you know it. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I've loved it, dude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me on.